you ready to make technology work for you? Tune in to Act on Tech, the podcast where we break down the latest tech trends and show you how to boost your productivity at home and in your business. So, subscribe to Act on Tech today and visit alexcustomtech.com to see how we can take your business to the next level. That's Act on Tech, your guide to smarter tech for a smarter business. Alex Custom Tech, IT means integrity and trust.
Welcome to Act on Tech, where we talk all things technology. I am Alex of Alex Custom Tech, and today's episode asks a big question. What comes after Windows? With Microsoft pushing hard into cloud and changing how Windows 11 works and updates, many businesses are now asking whether it's time to look at other options like Linux. And I want to pause right here and talk about the idea behind this podcast and what I'm talking about. So, life after Windows is the question you gotta ask yourself. Like, is what's going on with Windows right now? What Windows 11 is? The kerfuffle with the migrating from Windows 10 to 11, and why we call it a kerfuffle is because we have to literally get new hardware to update to Windows 11. Whether or not we have the budget for that, Windows don't really seem to care as much as we would like them to. I can't say they didn't make any concessions. They did. They offer you guys, if you want to stay on Windows 10 for a little longer, you can pay and you can keep getting updates for your Windows 10 environment. I think it's like $30 per machine, and that adds up, right? But everybody's being pushed over to Windows 11, and I'm going to talk about, what Windows really 11 is, why it is a different hardware needed. I'm going to touch on that a little bit today. But it is a kerfuffle. So now people are asking questions, what are the alternatives? So let's kind of like unravel this a little bit the best I can. All right. So we'll talk about how the tech community views Windows 11 today, what Linux offers as a alternative, and what life after Windows might look like. Okay. So Windows has dominated desktop computing for decades now, especially in business. But over the past few years, many IT professionals like myself have started to notice the shift between forced updates, higher hardware requirements, and deeper Microsoft account integration. And when I said Microsoft account integration, we were able to just install a Windows OS on a computer and do everything locally. We never needed a Microsoft Hotmail or Microsoft email account to log into Windows. This is kind of like when you get into that gray area of like, okay, like how much I don't really like that, and that's when we talk about Microsoft account integration. That's what it feels like. So like even to install Windows 11, I've come across a machine, I still have it in the shop here, that I'm trying to install Windows 11 on, and it's asking me to set up my Microsoft account, and I am not trying to do that. So it's kind of locking me out of it, meaning that I can't, and I'm going to spend some time on it, try to see if I can bypass it, but for the most part is I can't wipe that initial Windows 11 and put a new one on and try to log in locally. It just keep asking me to make sure I'm on the internet, what is my Microsoft account, just to put Windows 11 on this machine. Very frustrating. So that's kind of what it is. It's kind of restrictive, right? And it feels like your personal operating system, or more like, it doesn't feel like your personal operating system. It feels like managed cloud client. So your computer is like a cloud client, and opposed to like your computer. So it's the beginning of the end of Windows. if they keep going down this road, I don't know if they fully understand how human beings work or how humans are. They don't want to be cornered. They don't want to be told that they have to do these things. I mean, they'll tolerate it for a little bit, but not over time. And they're going to start looking for alternatives. And I want to kind of see if I can be ahead of the curve when it comes to this, because I've thought about it too myself. Like, I really haven't updated. I have a couple of computers that run 11, and some of them that run still Windows 10. I'm not worried about it. With good business, with good computing, you might not need to worry about that stuff. And remember, we'll talk about this Windows 11, Windows 10. If Windows will still continue to update its virus definition on Windows security for the foreseeable future. So you're okay if you stay on Windows 10 without paying for the updates. If you have good computing practices, I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. It depends on how you use your computer, but you can stay on 10, not pay the $30, but really focus on the virus definition from Windows Defender. But again, I told you there's no solutions in life, only trade-offs. So that being said, it feels like the beginning of the end for Windows. Again, I hope they take heed from this kerfuffle, right? But it's not the first time it's happened. Moving from DOS to graphical interfaces, it was kind of like the same thing. So I don't know if this is gonna go that way, but anyway. So how the tech community sees Windows 11? Well, let's talk about that. Mixed reaction, really. Some praises the cleaner interface and better security features. Others criticize forced TPM 2.0 requirements and the consistent account sign-in. So let's talk about the TPM, right? What should I tell you what it means? Well, okay, let's forget about the terminology because I don't want to get you guys lost too much into the weeds here. The TPM is a chip that's sitting on the motherboard. It's a chip, right? And it stores information that authenticates the operating system. That's pretty much the way to look at it. So, and the reason why it does that, in the past, I remember I was supposed to do this when it just came out, but I didn't. There was some security vulnerabilities that was found inside CPUs and inside chips that hackers could, the vulnerabilities hackers could tap into and wreak havoc. So the TPM kind of eliminates that, right? So Windows 11 requires the computer to have that TPM chip so that it can authenticate and store information in there that the operating system check with to see if this is okay or not. And not only the operating system checks with it, all of the software that runs on Windows 11 checks with this TPM chip that's on the thing to make sure that this is authenticated, this is good to run. It kind of control things. Now, are there workarounds to that? Yeah, it requires technical knowledge. Can you install Windows on an older computer? Yes, you can. There's technical things to do. But when you do that, you kind of open the door to the same vulnerability that Windows is trying to eliminate. I get that, right? But and the TPM thing, I can live with that. Like, I'm not, as a tech person, because I'm frustrated with it too myself. I'm okay with them having that on the boards, fine. But to definitely say you cannot install Windows on any boards prior to that doesn't have this is ridiculous, because the other boards are still fine, right? So why don't they give you the option to install it with the board or with the chip or without the chip? Okay, they didn't give you that choice. They're forcing you into one thing, and I'm all about liberty, and this doesn't feel like liberty. And the other aspect of it that upset me too is the account sign-in requirement. That's another thing too. Like, why do I have to have a Windows Microsoft 360 account, or Hotmail or whatever, which I do have, believe it or not, to sign into Windows, to sign into the OS. That's kind of goofy too. So if you don't know why this whole kerfuffle is happening with the hardware, it's because of the TPM chip, the TPM 2.0 requirement that has to be on the motherboard. That's why we have to upgrade to a more modern computer so that Windows 11 can easily be installed, because it has the requirements that it needs. So when you go on your computer and you check to see if you can install if you go upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11, what it's looking for is that chip. If the chip is not on there, it's going to say you cannot upgrade to Windows 11. In case you didn't know, that's what the whole kerfuffle is about. Cloud integration. Windows 11 leans heavily towards Microsoft 360 and OneDrive. Now, Microsoft 360 is the I mean, a lot of businesses use it, and I think a lot of businesses are going to struggle if they have to move from Windows to Linux, because they will lose that powerhouse of 360, right? But there's alternative. Google has its own version of that, which is what I use heavily. I don't have Microsoft 360. I use Google Drive, and Google has a lot of services that Google offer that is an alternative to Microsoft 360. OneDrive, Google have Google Drive, so you don't really need that. All right, but it's the whole Windows ecosystem that Windows pushing you to. Not saying it's not. Windows used to be we're operating system. We have these other services. You can just stick with us, or you can go wherever you want. That's not how Windows feel anymore. I feel like you have Windows, and you have to go with all of our stuff, or we're gonna make it hard for you. And that's kind of manipulation, and we don't really like that. Okay, so Microsoft 360, OneDrive, great for centralized management, like for enterprise level stuff, but less flexibility for independent users. Talk about like person like me that's a tinkerer, and other DIY guys or tech enthusiast guys. We don't want that lockdown situation. This is the reason why tech guys like myself are not rah Apple, because Apple, it's a great machine, and they put their heart and soul into it, and it does really good things, but it's not flexible. You can't do anything with it. It's just what you buy is what you get, and that's it. You can't tinker with it at all, and that's for a person like myself, as an engineer or a tech person, it's just a turn off to even mess with that, right? I don't want to push a boulder uphill. Okay, so enterprise focus, right? And I work for an enterprise company, so I understand the ease of use that this creates for them. But again, there is problems that can even come up in the enterprise environment because of these lockdowns or these kind of things. Because the money that you're going to be shelling out. Because right now, the computers that we have running in my office now at work, I don't think the computers have the TPM chip. So either they're going to be paying millions of dollars to service Windows 10 for the next year and a half, or they're going to buy all new machines, maybe some thin clients, which is going to be annoying for my coworkers, to run Windows 11, right? That's what I'm saying. So enterprise focus, it's clear Microsoft roadmap is geared towards business in this ecosystem, not powered user or thinkers. So I'm saying, like, they don't want to do things with people like me, power user or thinkers, or people who administrate this stuff. Performance versus control, that's another aspect of it. Updates can improve stability, nobody's arguing that, but at the same time, it removes legacy features. Like I just did a computer today, and it's for an old lady that I one of my dear clients, and her biggest thing is that she wants to play Spider. She wants to play Spider on her computer, and it's funny because she was running Windows 10. When I met her, I think she was on Windows 7, and I've upgraded her from 7. I didn't do 8. I did 7, 10, and then now we just did Windows 11. And I'm moving her Spider over. I have to tweak things so that she can run Spider on Windows 11, right? And that's really what she uses. She go online and check her accounts, and she plays Spider. If they keep this up, because now Windows don't, nobody cares about her being able to play Spider or not. So why are you locking it down? It's one of the funniest things. I don't know if you know anything about gaming. Xbox, again, Microsoft, never believed in backward compatibility, and they lost so much money by telling gamers that backward compatibility feature is stupid. They literally said that, not in that word, but that's what they said, and they lost so much money by not caring about what the users want. We're not against you upgrading the OS, making it safe, but locking it down in this way where you don't give people a choice, that's a problem. So performance over control, it's that whole there's no solution in life thing. If you trying to go too much into security, which is fine, you take away control from the user. Give the user the option. Have the security there. Have the lockdown there as an option. They can be that tyrannical with their system if they want, or they could pull back a little bit. Give them the option, and then the price will be on their head. So sometimes that's frustrating for IT pros like myself and enthusiasts alike. It just doesn't work for us, and that's what the IT community right now is arguing. Again, there's people who like Windows 11 and the idea behind that, and then people like myself that is not too keen on it. So let's look at Linux again. We talked about Linux before in the podcast, and we're gonna do a kind of additional talk about it now as an alternative. So what is a good thing about Linux? So what Linux can offer us, or is it an alternative? Let's talk about that. So it's free, it's open source. Linux is cost effective and has no license fees, perfect for small business on a budget. So I can run into a business, and depends on what they're doing, I can set up Linux machines on the existing machines that they have right now, and not have to pay any more money and buy anything else, and we can make it work for them. Customization, you're in control of everything. Desktop environment updates and features. Now security, fewer malware threats, better permission system, and strong community support. So why does Linux have fewer malware? Well, it's because that's not where people are. So the reason why, this is my theory, the hackers can put viruses on Linux, on Apple, and whatever, but the user base is not big enough for them to really worry about it. Windows have a bigger user base. Android have a bigger user base, so they attack those places because people, you go where the people are, put it like that. So that's why there's not that much there's viruses for Linux, but not as much as it would for Windows or Mac, and not even as much for Windows, because Mac have less than what Windows have. Right? It's not because they can't hack a Mac, it's just that it's a waste of time too, right? So, but as far as like updates and that kind of stuff, distros handle that for the most part. Like if you have, I would probably put in like some kind of Debian Linux in a business, and that would be supported. There is a learning curve for the people who are using it, but they will get some updates from the distro, and and there's a whole community out there too. But it's gonna be more. You're gonna be really relying on your MSP in this situation. You're gonna be really relying on your tech guy to run and maintain these Linux machines. So you're gonna have a symbiotic relationship with him. Security of your, I said, fewer malware distros for business: Ubuntu, Debian, Pop OS, Fedora Workstation, and Linux Mint are among the most user-friendly. Compatibility: modern Linux distros can now run many Windows apps. A lot of people don't know that, but Linux can run Windows apps, but you have to need another layer. So you have an emulator kind of thing called Wine that can run it, or you can have like a dual boot situation where you boot into Windows, do the work, and then boot back out and boot back into Linux. So you can use virtual machines too, where it's just sitting on top of the Linux operating system, and you can do what you're doing with that, and then after that you can turn it off. So those are the alternatives to running Windows in your ecosystem, and that's your thing. So the reality check. Training curves, like for running Linux, training curve. Staff may need time to adapt. Linux isn't Windows, and the shortcuts are different, and the software are different. Okay, software availability. Some industry-specific apps like QuickBooks and Adobe Creative Suite still favors Windows and Mac OS over Linux. All right. Hardware compatibility. Linux works on most systems, but certain printers, cameras, and Wi-Fi adapters may need manual setup. Meaning that when manufacturers 9 times out of 10 they build something, they're building it for Windows or Mac. They're not really building it for Linux, right? So the drivers, you're not gonna have to find drivers for that unless somebody in the garage make a driver for it. Again, there are things, cameras and stuff like that work with Linux. You have to pay attention at that point when you're purchasing things. You have to pay attention and say, oh, does this work with Linux? Okay. Why business should pay attention. The future may not be Windows versus Linux. It might be Windows plus Linux plus cloud. I talk about the hybrid setup that I have for backups. It's kind of like, that's kind of where everything seems to be going. That's kind of how I design my redundancy. I might be for the same thing for OSs, which is a shame, but it might be. A hybrid environment are becoming more common, and Windows for specific application, Linux for servers, and lightweight workstation like the hated thin clients. Right? Linux offer independence, which is the most important thing to me as a tech, from vendors, lock-in and longer hardware lifespan. I can pull a lot of life out of a Linux machine that I can pull out of a Windows machine, because Windows is like 7 years, and they start talking about life cycle. I have things in my garage right now, which is my storage, that I'm going to be working on a project, and I'm pulling up an old Dell, to throw Linux on, so I can build out some software. And I'm not buying. I have to go to Microsoft and pick up a new machine to do that. Independence, it's a beautiful thing. For MSPs and IT consultant, offering Linux deployment and support can be a new revenue stream. Now, I'm gonna think about building out designing a Linux network. I haven't really done a lot of posting on my site, and I have also noticed that a couple of links towards recommending products are down. I'm gonna work on that for you guys, and I'm going to probably put up a link to designed network you can probably implement. I'm probably gonna make it free for you guys, so you guys can probably download the paperwork and actually design your own networks. I'm thinking about doing this because, like a Linux network, this would be a very good thing to have. And if you are going to do it, you can do it, or you can consult your IT guy to see if he can help you design a Linux network, given what you're using, what are the mission critical softwares you have. Or you can shoot me out an email and see if I can help you with it. But this is the way the world is, it appears. Alright? So don't just jump ship blindly. Evaluate your software stack first. We talk about software stacks and what we use. We mentioned these words are not new to you if you listen to my podcast. Consider testing Linux on a few machines. So put a couple of machines aside, test Linux on them and see if you like it, learn how to use it, and then when you make it, all across the board, you have people in your organization that knows about it that can help the others. Keep an open mind. Linux isn't the geek only system it once was, and that's true. I've been messing with it for years, on and off. I've always had at least 1 or 2 Linux machines in my operation. But my son is 14. He doesn't know this, but because he helped me with my business sometimes when we do like that administrative stuff. And that's Linux he uses the Linux machine. He doesn't know it's Linux. He just on a computer, but it's Linux. He was using Ubuntu. He had no clue that it was Ubuntu. And he knows how to navigate that space. He's sitting with my Fortress of Solitude. The theater computer is Linux. It's Ubuntu. That's why I watch my movies on. Again, always mess with it. So Windows is not the end all be all, and they're trying to be, I guess, in a way. There are alternatives, and I'm not like I'm a big pro Linux person. I'm just saying, keep it on the table. It might help you guys out. Okay, the future of business computing will be defined by flexibility, I think, not just brand loyalty. Okay, so thanks for tuning in thanks for tuning in to me, Alex, at Act on Tech. Whether you're sticking with Windows or exploring Linux, adopt a hybrid approach, whatever you're doing, stay informed, stay adaptable. Technology always evolves, and business that evolves stay ahead. And that's the key. In business, we have to be able to evolve with the time. As long as it doesn't go against your principle, and you're not making deals that you should be making, you have to be able to be adaptable, agile, and be able to evolve with the times. Focus on what your objective is, not what the machine you're using. Whatever gets you to your objective, do that. If Windows is locking you out and making things difficult, you might have to jump ship and go to Linux, or you might have to keep Windows for certain things that you cannot get rid of and then go to Linux. You might have to, whatever. You have to sit down with your MSP guys and talk to them about that and see what you can do. What are the options? And if you want us help, you can reach out to me at info@alexcustomtech or your local MSP. So until next time, stay secure, stay flexible, and keep acting on tech.
Hey there, Jersey and Eastern PA businesses. Ready to take your IT game to the next level? Get excited because Alex Custom Tech is coming your way. We're your go-to for IT support, bringing integrity and trust to every service. From network upgrades to virtualization and even relocating your IT setup, we've got you covered. Stay tuned as we put the finishing touches on our new site. Alex Custom Tech, helping your business thrive with top-notch IT support right in your backyard.
Welcome to Alex Custom Tech, your trusted partner for computer service and repair since 2010. We provide professional consulting services to clients throughout New Jersey and Pennsylvania, offering everything from computer repair to network design and installation. Our focus is on building efficient, results-driven professional relationships with our clients. We work with you to create customized solutions that fit your specific needs, whether you're an individual or an organization. Our comprehensive IT consulting services are designed to make your technology work more effectively for you. We provide solutions that meet your business's performance and utilization demands, because we understand that when your technology doesn't work, neither do you. We specialize in network design and implementation, taking the pain out of network creation, maintenance, and repair. Our team understands that even minimal downtime can impact your productivity and revenue. That's why we offer 24/7 proactive monitoring and maintenance to strategically optimize and protect your infrastructure. For residential and business clients, we provide affordable and reliable computer repair services, available both on-site and at our location. Our commitment to quality is reflected in our satisfied customers' experiences. We service New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Alex Custom Tech is ready to serve your IT needs. Contact us today at 855-668-6315 or email info@alexcustomtech.com to discover how Alex Custom Tech can help optimize your technology solutions.